now on air.
Hey, it's Ed with Free Circle. How you doing today? Welcome to the dialogue. Canada went up in smoke today. They legalized marijuana. It's kind of a big step to take. The whole country, all at once. Unlike the United States, where they're doing it state by state, this war on drugs, it did not do much good for America. It was a dividing thing, actually. It ruined a lot of lives over a plant. I don't advocate partying with marijuana. I don't advocate young people doing marijuana. However, it is a plant and everybody has the right to do as they choose. They have the free will to do that. So, yeah, I'd rather see the whole country on marijuana than on alcohol. That's my personal opinion, but it's a big step. Canada went all in and they legalized, and I think Canada is going to be very prosperous out of this. They're going to bring in a lot of revenue that will do good things. And that's kind of where I see this whole thing going, is America is going to follow because of the greed in America. They want the money, So now that Canada has taken the step, I see several states following suit, along with Oregon, Washington, Colorado. It's a plant and they can make funds off of it now. Revenue changes votes. And I think with people seeing how much revenue is actually coming in to these states that are legalizing, it's going to be a trend, and it's going to be like a domino effect, of course. And that's sad because, all that's driving it is the funds, the money. And I would rather see good intent drive it, not money. So that's my big thing about marijuana. We've been watching this for a long time. The SWAT teams were built up and militarized over drugs here in America. And I just see a reverse going on. I think it's a good thing. I think people are going to wake up that, hey, this isn't the reefer madness that it was made out to be. That was a big thing to start controlling marijuana in the States. And we all should know marijuana is not going to make you go wacko. It's going to put you to sleep, or it's going to make you a fat slug on the couch because of the Doritos and pies and everything else you're going to be eating. Where I see on alcohol, it's legal and socially acceptable. I see bar fights. I see so many driving incidents. There's a lot of death involved with alcoholism, and Not so much with marijuana usage. I'm not saying by any means there is no negative effects for marijuana, because yes, there are those negative effects also. And the big one that I see there is kids. We don't want to promote it as a cool thing, because whatever kids see adults doing, they mimic. And I remember back when I was a kid, they used to sell those fake cigarettes. And we watched our parents smoke cigarettes, and we just had to have that box of candy cigarettes so we could pretend smoke. See, that's the problem I see with the marijuana thing. And I hope there's a lot of responsible people that are aware of that, and we put effort towards putting a buffer in between youths getting a hold of that. Myself, at 9 years old, my brothers started blowing marijuana smoke into my face as I was sleeping. And at 9 years old, I started drinking, I started smoking marijuana, I started doing a lot of bad things. So I've got experience with alcohol, marijuana, all sorts of drugs, and I know the effects, and I know what the reality of it is. You make something cool, everybody wants to do it. So I that's the only aspect of marijuana I see bad at this point in time in my life. That's because your brain is not developed when you're young, and I can tell you it does have effects on your cognitive functioning. And it's just educating people and trying to keep it locked up from kids. Otherwise, party on and be yourself. It's a thing you have to kind of be responsible, just like any other substance. And we so often see people not being responsible. Here in Oregon, you can grow 4 plants for your personal use. If you're medical, I believe it's 6 plants. And you're seeing a lot of negativity coming out of this because, excuse me, first of all, legalizing it is supposed to take away the black market. Well, we can see that did not happen. It's not going to happen because, first of all, you're making it way too expensive in these dispensaries. And therefore, Johnny Jojo down the road here that's growing 120 plants illegally, well, he can undercut that dramatically. So you're going to have to do like Canada did. Just legalize it. And that way it makes it affordable, and these black market people are not going to be able to make their money, and it will stop that flow to the youth. I can tell you that firsthand. So you're always going to have people do bad things with legal situations. So it's up to us to kind of put it into our brains that it's not the drug or the plant. It's the mentality of the people. And I see it so often where you're not supposed to be able to drive and get high or drink. And once it became legal in Oregon, everybody, they're still wanting to drive and smoke. It's not a wise thing. So we've got a lot of issues when we deal with legalizing, but yet we're already dealing with the same thing under alcohol. So these police officers, when they pull you over for DUI, now they are trained to recognize the signs of being under the influence of marijuana. And it's one of those things you're just going to have to figure it out for yourself. First of all, yeah, it's fine to do it in the safety of your own place, but when you're out doing 70 miles an hour on a road, you'd better be pretty aware of everything around you, and being impaired by anything is not a good thing while you're driving an automobile, a motorcycle, a plane, train, whatever. So we do have these issues, but I feel like this. You're not going to see a big change in any of that compared to what it is right now, because those people that are going to do that are going to do that. It's that simple. So Canada, they took a big step. They went up in smoke today, and I'm glad. I'm proud of Canada for taking the step, not to do it what they're called provinces up there, I believe. I'm not aware. I'm sure of that, but anyway, they didn't issue province by province like us down here. They just legalized it. And that's kind of what the federal government here needs to do. Step out of it. It's none of your business. The Constitution states in Amendment 10, if it's not outlined in the Constitution, that it reverts back to the states. So let the states deal with it and stop wasting federal funds on issues that you have no business in. And that's my thought of the United States and their prohibition. They love to prohibit instead of protect. See, that's the big thing here in America. And I know that prohibition is always bad for the people. There's better ways of doing it. I'm interested to see the first 30 days of revenue. What is that going to bring to Canada? And another question is, how is Canada going to allocate those funds, the marijuana? Do they tax marijuana up there like we do here in the States? It's a lot of good questions, but I know that there's a lot of revenue going to be coming from marijuana. And I'll tell you, if I had the funds, I would be producing it. Just one of those things, if you're going to do a product, do it right. and a lot of people, they don't know how to grow marijuana. So there's going to be a learning curve for people, and there's a lot of good growers out there that's going to make a lot of money. And I see these personalized brands like Willie Nelson or his personal reserve. That's a good idea to be doing with marijuana. It's just like alcohol. They have all of their little brands, So it's a good time to get into that market. If you can afford to do it, there's a lot of good growth potential out of this. And I'll tell you, it's a good thing. It's going to take a lot of bad things off the street. It's like if you don't have to Jones for your fix, it's going to stop crime. Now, I don't think a lot of people go out there ripping stuff off to get pot, but I know for a fact that those meth heads, they're out there like little rats, and they're thieving. And so there's a lot of this negativity that comes out of criminalizing things. So my personal feeling on drugs, I think each state in every town should have a drug center where if you're an addict, go down to that center and have all that you want, but don't take it out on the streets and don't take it around the kids. When you have that in your home, it's like the little kids with the cigarettes. They're going to pretend doing it just like mom and dad. So if we can set up centers where these people can check in like a motel and they don't check out until they get sober, imagine the crime that would just go away. So I have a pretty different opinion on drugs than most people, because I've seen both sides of it and I know firsthand. So all of the lawmakers can make these laws and implement laws, but they don't know jack about what they're doing. Most of them have never even taken a hit of marijuana, let alone know how to regulate people with it. So we have a lot of issues with drugs and marijuana, and I'm just kind of glad that it's getting off of the... I'm just glad that we are starting to talk about it and coming to our senses about it. There was a lot of negative propaganda put out, and you can look up Reefer Madness on the YouTube and watch that show or that little video. It's nothing like that. So if you want to do something, bring it with truth. Don't put propaganda out to try to bend and sway the will of the people. I don't see that as being a good thing for our governments to be putting out propaganda, especially if it's false propaganda. So, I don't know. That's my take. Good job to Canada. They went up in smoke today. I'm going to be watching and seeing what that revenue stream brings. And let's also watch the crime rates, see if they have any fluctuation in them. I think that's probably going to be a flat line with very little change. I don't know. We're going to find out. Ed, Free Circle, out.